we go back to here, I'll have P5 day 1 done, which will be the, I'll upload those, which will be after I've written everything in, okay? And I'll put a lesson video too. So I'll upload that. So if you miss class, maybe you had to leave early for a doctor's appointment or something, you can look at it when you get home at night and do it. Or if you're absent because you're sick, if you feel up to it, start feeling better, you can look and see what we did that day. So you can kind of keep up and not get too far behind. Okay? So you can do that. And you should be able to look at the slides, into your Google Slide stuff to go back for maybe the week before or something too. Because I just duplicate the slide so it's saved and you can look at, the weeks past. All right, so just a way to remind you to keep up when you miss, okay? So this week, last week we had the factoring quiz, and not bad. Could have been maybe a little better, but overall you guys did a pretty good job, and you've been doing a good job all along. So keep that up. And that first quiz. But this week, we're just looking at section P5, all right, which has to do with rational expressions, which is fractions, okay? These are examples of rational expressions, or the fractions that we're going to simplify, multiply, and divide today. And then tomorrow we'll add and subtract. So the quiz Friday will be simplifying fractions, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions. Okay? But our fractions are going to look like this, not like 2/3 and 3/4, stuff like that. Okay? And it's, again, stuff we did last year in our Algebra 2 class. And you're still going to have to be able to factor. Okay? That's why we do the factoring before this section. So we've had practice with our factoring stuff. Okay? So let's just go through some examples. All right? So this is a normal fraction that when you first started, and reducing it to lowest terms. We always want to write our fractions in lowest terms. And to reduce this 9/24, you do the factors of it. Well, 9 was 3 times 3, and 24 was 8 times 3. So if you have common factors, they both have a common factor of 3, you can cancel those out. Okay? And those become 1. Right? 3 divided by 3 is like 1. So it's like 3 times 1 is 3. And 8 times 1 is 8. Okay? So we're going to do the same thing with the ones that look like this. We're going to factor what we can. And we're going to cancel the ones that have the same factor, top and bottom. And then we'll multiply whatever's left. Put in the top, multiply whatever's left in the bottom. Okay? So same procedure. So here's one. Supposed to simplify, which means reduce it. Okay? Every year I get kids, I see an x squared up there, I see an x squared there, just cancel them. That is incorrect. Do not do that. You have to factor first. Okay? So when we factor, we always look for a GCF, then a sum or a difference of squares, sum or difference of cubes, perfect square trinomial, regular trinomial, and grouping problems, right? Went through that many times last week. Do the same thing this week. And this is no GCF. It's got 3 terms, so I skip 2 and 3. I skip number 4 because these aren't both positive perfect squares, neither one of them. It's regular trinomial for both. Remember, the number in front is the A value, which is 1. The number in front of this is the B value, which is also 1. And my C value is -2. And this one, A is 1, B is 2, and C is -3. So what I'm going to do, since A is 1, all you have to do is look at the factors of this C, right? That add up to +1. All I want to do is find the factors of -3 that add up to +2, okay? We had like, on the quiz, 3 or 4 like this, so I made it pretty easy. All right? There's a few that we had to do the multiplying, 8 times 3, but it looks like this then. 2 times -1 is -2, and then 2 plus the -1 is +1. And -1 times 3 is the -3, and -1 plus 3 is +2. So once it's factored, cancel out the factors that are the same. So the x minus 1s are the same, they cancel out. Remember, that makes these 1s. So just go x plus 2 times 1 is x plus 2, and 1 times x plus 3 is x plus 3. That's all you gotta do. So just like the one here, the common factor was 3 for this one, the common factor is x minus 1 for this problem. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions? The same procedure, same factoring we did last week. I'm just using the factoring to help us simplify fractions. Okay? Nick, you all right? Yeah. So this one, can I factor the numerator? Is there a GCF? It's got 2 terms, so is it a difference of squares, some are difference of cubes? Is there a GCF? No. Is it one of the other 2? No. So can I factor it? No. That's okay. Then you go to the next one. Is there a GCF? No. 3 terms, so we jump down to number 4. Are those both positive perfect squares? No. So regular triangle, number 5, which A is 3 this time, so when A is bigger than 1, 2 or bigger, we multiply those together, which is -12. So I want the factors of -12 that add up to +1. Christopher Walls. What would that be?
4 -3.
Thank you, sir. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3x squared plus 4x minus 3x minus 4. So we turn it into a grouping problem, number 6 on our list. And then we group first 2, last 2. Okay, nothing new from that, the same as what we did last week. Since this third term is negative, we put that negative sign inside the group. Do our little plus sign there. And then we take out GCFs. When we do grouping, we take out GCFs to start from each group. Just see x common, though. 3x squared divided by x is 3x. 4x divided by x is 4. Remember, if that's a negative there, we always pull out the negative and then figure out what goes into those. What goes into 3x and 4? Just a 1, yeah. A lot of times we say there's nothing common. Well, if nothing's common, we still use the number 1 then. Some of us on our quiz had a similar problem like this Thursday or Friday, and there was nothing common to that second group. So some people didn't put anything there. Okay? You've got to put the 1. Then divide. -3x divided by -1 is positive 3x. And -4 divided by -1 is positive 4. Okay? So this top one I couldn't factor. This bottom one factors into 3x plus 4 and x minus 1. The GCFs you pulled out become the other factor. These two have to be the same for this to work, which they work. Now when I look at this fraction, is there factors that are the same? Yeah, the 3x plus 4 is, right? So those cancel, so it gives me a 1. So the top becomes 1. Nothing left, but we still put a 1. And then 1 times x minus 1 is x minus 1. Okay, does that make sense? So you're just simplifying fractions. Okay, so you're doing whatever type factoring problem you can. And usually you get at least one thing top and bottom that you can. Sometimes there isn't, and then whatever you start with is your answer. You can't simplify it at all. Okay? A lot of times, I'll tell you, if you can't do the numerator at all, usually that's one of the factors. We couldn't do that at all, so 3x plus 4 ended up being one of the factors. A lot of times that will happen. Okay? Sometimes they make them look weird. What's wrong with this, Michael Walls?
The X here should be first up top.
Yeah, it's not in the right order. Let's put it in the right order first. Okay? What else is kind of funky about this one? Jamie, what don't you like about that? Something up there you don't like?
I don't like the problem.
Oh, I know that. You don't like math at all. I'm sure. But you're going to do it anyway, right?
Yeah. Is the negative one supposed to be behind the?
Yeah, this is okay.
Okay, that's okay.
That one's okay. The top I'm talking about still. What still looks different in the top that we don't like? No, you're looking even too deep. The negative sign. This thing, we always like it to look like this, don't we? With nothing, we like it to be positive and then whatever, x squared. We like it actually to be x squared, right? That makes them easier, right? That when the a is 1, it makes them easier. So the bottom one looks good. We like the way it looks. But the top one, they tried to mess with your head a little bit. They changed the order, and they also made that x squared negative. So we're going to take out what? A negative 1. Okay? So we're going to write it like this. So when I take out the negative 1, negative x squared divided by negative 1 is positive x squared, and positive 4x divided by negative 1 is negative 4x. Okay, so don't forget, you're changing both signs, or if there's 3 of them, 3 signs. Whatever's inside. You're dividing them all by negative 1. What else is common to those? X. You could also take an x out and make it x minus 4, right? And that's what they do here. Okay? So if you want to take out negative x to start, instead of the negative 1 and then the x, that's okay. You can do both of those at the same time if you want. So that's the first thing you want to do. If you see negatives in front of an x squared, make sure it's in the right order, and then pull that out. And if x is also a common thing, pull the x out along with it. And then this is just an easy trinomial. A is 1, so what are the factors of negative 8 that add up to negative 2? Ashton?
Let's say negative 4.
And?
2.
Right, negative 4 and 2. Okay? So negative 4 times positive 2 is negative 8, negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2, and then we see that the negative 4's, x minus 4's cancel. So you get negative 1x in the top. If you put the 1, it's okay, you don't have to, and then x plus 2 is left in the bottom. Okay? So those negatives, they're going to try to mess with you a little bit. Don't let it intimidate you. You guys can handle it. Questions? Okay? I don't want to go too fast, but I don't want to go too slow either. Give you some time to work on your homework. All right, here's another one. The order's okay, but what's wrong? So what can I pull out of there? Negative x, yeah. Negative x squared divided by negative x, positive x. 3x divided by negative x is negative 3. This one we're going to go 2 times 3. Nothing was common. It's nothing special. It's just a regular trinomial, so I get 6. Remember, if c is positive, the signs are both b, so they're both a negative. And what factors of 6 add up to 7? 6 and 1. So negative 6 and negative 1. That gives us positive 6 when I multiply and negative 7 when I add. So we do what we did earlier today. 2x squared. We're changing that out to negative 6x minus 1x. And then plus 3. And then we're grouping. Taking out GCF. 2x goes into both of those. 2x squared divided by 2x is x. Negative 6x divided by 2x is negative 3. Since that's a negative sign there, we have to pull the negative out. Nothing's common, so we still have to put a number, so it's 1. Negative 1x divided by negative 1 is positive x. Positive 3 divided by negative 1 is negative 3. So one of my factors is x minus 3. And another factor is 2x minus 1. And I see that I have x minus 3's in the top and bottom that I can cancel. I can eliminate. So my answer is negative x in the top in my numerator and 2x minus 1 in my denominator. Questions? You probably will see a negative in an x squared like that. Okay? Question. Okay. Guys, you're doing well. Stick with me. Multiplication. Okay? Factor all numerators to denominators, just like we've been doing, completely. Divide out common factors, numerators to denominators, just like we've been doing. Then multiply numerators, multiply denominators. If you do all that right, the step 2 right, you don't have to worry about step 4. Be sure the numerator and denominator have no common factors other than 1. Okay? So, let's look at this top one. Again, this is no symbol means multiplication. All right? Factor what you can. Well, this top one we can't factor. There's no GCF. It's not a difference of squares or sum or difference of cubes. It's got 2 terms, so that's all we can do is nothing to it. This one has a GCF of 4. Divide 4 into 4x, 4 into 20, and we get this. That can't go any further. It's nothing special there. It's just a binomial, no perfect squares, no perfect cubes. This one up here, x plus 5, same thing. Just said that. This one, x squared minus 9, is a difference of squares. It is number 2 on our list. There was no GCF. When you have 2 perfect squares and a minus between them, you make the 2 sets of parentheses. Some of you on the quiz forgot about this type. There was a couple of them on 2 that had a difference of squares, I think, on both forms. Square root of x squared. Square root of 9. Addition and subtraction. Okay, so look. Up here is an x minus 3. There's an x minus 3. Here's an x plus 5. There's an x plus 5. So my top is just 1 times 1, which is 1, my numerator. My denominator is 4 times x plus 3. Does that example make sense? So it's basically the same thing we're doing, except we got more than one fraction. And we just multiply tops and bottoms. Numerators, top, denominators, bottom. 5 10. Okay. Mr. Myers, factor this numerator for me.
10 parentheses x minus 4.
Good. GCF was 10. Liam, this one.
X minus 8 plus 2.
Not 8 times 2. What times 2 gives you 8?
4.
Yeah, 4 and 2. And since that's plus, they're both that one. Okay? Tasha, factor this one. Yeah, you're right. It's so smart. Good enough. John, factor this one.
X plus 1, right? For,
Yeah, what's a column?
5.
Yeah. Then what's left?
X plus 1.
No. What's 15 divided by 5?
Oh, 3. But I was doing it.
Yeah, you're doing 5 and 5. Okay? You okay with that? So, Garrett, what can I cancel? You know, like we did up here, I canceled x plus 5 with x plus 5 and x minus 3 with x minus 3. So what ones can I cancel?
X plus 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10x minus 3.
Well, we're up here. Look at this right now.
X
Right. Look at the factored part. Anything else? What about the 5 and the 10? Is there a number that goes into both of them? What? 5, right? So even though they're just numbers, they're still factors, right? So we can do that as well. We haven't had one like that yet. 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 10 twice. So we got a 2, 1, 1. We're multiplying those, so that's just 2. And then x minus 2 times all the ones is x minus 2. Okay, does that make sense? Questions on anything? Not sure how we got something? Okay. All right, so we've done simplifying, we've done multiplication. What else did I say we're going to do today? Division. Remember, when you divide rational expressions, dividing by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. So 1/2 divided by 3/4 is the same as 1/2 times 4/3. And then 2 went into 2 once, and 2 went into 4 twice. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. That's how they did that. You guys remember that? We're going to do the same thing with these. Okay? I want to take this, factor it out, times, what am I going to do with it? Flip it. Flip the fraction f that comes after the division sign. Okay, so we just say flip, right? So when we flip it, we're multiplying by the reciprocal. So when you see a division problem in your homework or on the quiz, and you're writing it on your own paper, write it down as times that. Don't write it like this and then rewrite it the other way. Just write it as a multiplication problem. So basically all we're doing is simplifying and multiplying, right? Because division is multiplying. So, on this first one, I take out a GCF. But what is x squared minus 9? X plus 3, x minus 3, right? So that's the numerator of the first one. This one, it's an easy one. Got to be x and x. Since c is plus, they're both whatever that is. They're both x minus. What are factors of 3 that add to 4? 3 and 1, right? It's only factors of 3. The prime number. Remember, times, we're looking at this one. What's that called? Difference of squares. So, 2 sets of parentheses. What's the square root of x squared? 16 plus minus, right? But it's in the top now, remember? Because we're changing it to multiplication. This one had an x squared common, a GCF. And then we got x squared plus 2x minus 8. So there's my x squared, and then that's a regular trinomial. So we got x times x. We got negative 8, so one's addition, one's subtraction. So what factors of negative 8 add up to positive 2?
4 negative 2.
4 positive and 2 negative, correct. So now it's all factored out, and we change it to multiplication. Now it looks just like what we've been doing, right? X squareds, cancel. X plus 4s, cancel. X minus 3s, cancel. Any others that are the same? I don't see any. So my answer to this problem then, just put it here. All right, x plus 3 and x minus 4 in top. And then bottom is x minus 1 and x minus 2. And you just leave it like that. You don't have to boil it out. Just leave it like that. So that's what type of problems you're doing for homework tonight. Simplifying and multiplying. Division you turn into multiplication. Okay? Lots of factors, just like last week. Tomorrow we add and subtract. Okay? So here's your assignment. Any questions? While you get started on your homework, I'll come around and show you how you did on your quiz. And then once everybody's taken the quiz, then I'll get the papers back to you.